and welcome to another Zenphi tutorial. Today we're going to be going over how you can enhance your for each loops to make sure your flows are as quick as possible. If you have any questions on collections or working with collections, there's going to be a link in the description to a video that goes more into depth on how these actions work in case you want to learn more. Like mentioned in that video, we have an action called parallel for each, which allows you to be able to loop through all of the items at the same time, be able to do all of the actions simultaneously. However, using this action does have its cons because not all applications handle parallelism very well, so it's crucial to use for each loop when needed. However, using a regular for each loop as we usually do can really slow down your flow, especially if you're working with many different tasks for one specific item. So to do that, we want to make sure we add some enhancements to make sure it's as quick as possible, and we're not waiting for it to complete all of the different tasks for each item before moving on to the next. So what we're going to do first is create our regular for each loop, and you're going to select your collection as you usually do by clicking on the chain icon and retrieving the collection that you want to work with. Collections are seen in Zenphi with a little square bracket so you can identify them very easily. And then the change that we're going to make is we're going to call a different flow. So all of the different steps that we want to do for each item is going to be located on a different flow, and here we're only going to make calls to that flow. So what's going to happen is it's going to call the other flow, let's say 10, 20, 30 times instead of just having one run. However, it's not going to wait for the next one before it moves on to the next item, and you're going to be able to get the benefits of a parallel for each loop, however, with the added security that the regular for each loop offers. So to be able to call the second flow, what we're going to do is use the HTTP request action. Here we're going to paste the URL of the second flow, which I will get to in a second. First, we're going to run through the rest of the action. What you're going to do is in HTTP request method, we're going to select post. Request body type, we're going to select text, and here in the body we're going to select any parameters that we want to send over. For example, any emails, any IDs, the name of someone, etc. You can send over information here. So you can simply use the token picker, and here you have your for each loop. You can select any of the parameters that you wish to send over or that you're going to be using to the next one. For example, if you're going to be accessing data from a Zenphi table, you can send over the record ID, maybe a certain name, a certain code. You can add any information that you need to pass over in this section. Simply indicate the text as you can see here. So we're going to have the name of the parameter inside of the quotes, a semicolon, you're going to open quotes, add the token, close the quotes, and then you're going to have a comma, and you would add the comma until you get to the last parameter, and then we would simply close the curly brackets. For request body content type, we're going to write application/JSON. And then if we go over to our second flow, we're going to make sure we select the HTTP trigger. And then once your flow is published, you're going to be able to go to the invocation section, and we can copy the URL including the authorization token, and we're going to be pasting that up at the top where we mentioned previously. So you would paste that webhook here. That way both of your flows are connected. Then I would suggest two actions. So in this case, I'm just using a log to history to be able to see the HTTP body. Just in case we need it, this step is not mandatory. To be able to add that, you're going to use a log to history action, select the token picker, open up the trigger, and paste the body. And now the next action is going to be used to be able to extract the parameters that we passed over from the first flow. So this action is called convert JSON to object. So what we're going to do is parse the HTTP body. So using the token picker, we're going to select the body once again. And here in the schema, you're going to write the different parameters that you passed over in this format. So you would write type, object, properties, and then here you would write in the same way that you did previously, whether it's capitalized, all in, lowercase, etc. You would write those same parameters here. In type, we would write string. And then in title, this is going to be how you're going to be able to find the parameter in the output. So just follow this same format. If you want to add any others, you would add a comma at the end, and then open the quotes and add another property, so you can add as many as you want. And the last one would not have a comma, as we can see here. Once you add that, if you go to the output, you're going to be able to see those same fields with the name that we indicated in the schema. As we can see, it'll be displayed like this. And that would be everything. As you can see, it can be very simple to be able to connect your two flows, which is going to help you in return save a lot of time, be able to get a head start on the items, get the perks of a parallel for each without having to deal with the consequences that may come with it. For example, overwriting information. And yeah, like mentioned at the beginning, we're going to have a link in the description to our video on collections in case you want to learn more about the different actions that we have. There's a gallery of YouTube videos on our channel about different use cases for different sectors. So if you're interested in learning more, make sure to check that out as well. And thank you so much for watching.